Hey, good evening. Maria back with another video at 7:50 p.m. It is November 11th. I was going to say 11/11/2021, but no, it's November 11th, the formal way of saying it. So it's evening time and I am relaxed. I'm sitting here in my pajamas and my slippers and my robe, and I just wanted to come on here because I'm in the mood to talk. And Maria has been gang stalked for a very long time, and she doesn't. Well, I don't think anybody's really living a normal life anymore, because of the all that COVID bullshit that's going on, and so people really don't have guests over and stuff like that like they used to. But see, I don't really know anyone anymore anyway since all of this stuff started. But I will say that the world is a much more distant place anyway. So, but I think a lot of people are going through that. But in my case, I have these issues of trust, which makes sense after dealing with what I had dealt with. So I was, every day is a new day, and so I'm learning how to cope with my problems. When you have dealt with human trafficking or gang stalking, you know that many people exit out of your life, and in some ways you're very glad because when you deal with something like this, people do show their true colors, okay? And it's a statement, and it's a statement that you can't ignore. It's basically when people participate in something that is damaging to you and they don't listen to your will, um, uh, it shows that they don't care about you. So I'm not mourning that loss, and I want to make this very clear because, when I basically stated how I was running away from my ex-husband because of the family issues and stuff like that I didn't agree with, because he was a white man, people really didn't take me seriously because of the racism. And I really don't want to have to live my life trying to explain myself. I never wanted this all to blow up to the point of where I was put in a position where I was forced to explain myself. But I'm trying to make a new beginning for myself, and I don't think that a lot of people are going to be in my future, mainly because I am going to be a very reserved person for the rest of my life. This is one of those lessons that you learn about, how there is a difference of my moral standards and how other people are. And first, I'd like to say, I know when I say this, people might think, well, you think you're better than everybody else. No, I do not think I'm better than everyone else. I will be upfront and honest when I say I think I have better morals than a lot of people. That doesn't mean that I'm better than they are. Like, you have to take those things individually. Those issues individually. Some people run better than I do. Some people dance better than I do. Some people, I have more talent than I do, or whatever. But in this case, I'm sorry, I do, because I think that when it comes to how to behave, how to treat other people, how to respect other people, how to live my life, I really do take pride in the way that I live my life. But I don't brag about it. But obviously, I do have to sometimes stand up for myself and make videos and talk about it. And you have to remind people, hey, you know what? I have rights. You're violating my rights. You have to say these things because, as we all know from what happened, people don't know right from wrong. Okay, and if they do, and I personally don't see how they couldn't, especially when you talk about laws and you reference the laws of the country and you reference laws of their own God that they pray to and they claim to be a part of the religion, you have to understand that what you're dealing with is fucking evil, right? But it does exist, and this is something I'm well aware of. So anyway, um, I wanted to talk about today because I was in my car, and I know sometimes I get little buzz things that go through my head, and I've been wanting to talk about this for kind of a while. I know that my perps were like, and I get angry because it's like, these are people that in the past, I trusted, I told them, I confided something in them, and they go around, they exploit what I tell them or whatever. So I've learned that you can't tell people everything, especially if they don't really have an understanding of certain things, or they don't, some people are very limited in what they could, what you can say around them. They might be a little bit immature and not know how to handle certain information or whatever. But, I was thinking about when I first started really seriously working. When I say seriously working, I'm going to tell you what, when I was a teenage kid, I worked just for clothes, and everybody knows me that I love clothes. I love makeup. I like handbags. And, you know, I know some women who love handbags. I mean, they buy expensive handbags. I like handbags that are kind of handmade, that a lot of people might make and sell them online. I think those are really interesting. I am not a designer bag person, okay? So there's a difference there. But my point is that when I was growing up, you know, I was never one of those kids who saved up for their own bicycle or anything like that. I basically worked just to get material things. That's pretty much how it was. And I'm not a materialistic person, but I didn't, you know, I didn't have to, because I knew some kids that I grew up with who basically had to pull their own weight, okay, because maybe their parents didn't make enough money or whatever. So I will say that I was comfortable enough to be able to work for my own pleasure, okay. And I will tell you, when I did get work, I didn't, you know, I didn't really care about work back then, because it was like me, I just wanted to get a paycheck like everyone else when I was a kid, okay. I didn't think that deeply about it. But when I became a parent, I wanted to take life seriously, and I knew that I had to take care of my kids. So I started really loving work, because I felt like I had a purpose in life, like I had something to look forward to, something to believe in, and I was ready to take on parenting. I know this sounds, you know, kind of weird, because I was a single parent, and no, I don't think that people should go out and have children, you know, without a stable support system. But I was young, and you know, I know that what I did was not like ideal or whatever, but I felt like, you know, I can do this. I can do this, and I knew that I can do this. And so I felt like I'm going to just go out and raise my son. And that's what I did. Okay. And I never let my past stop me. Like, I knew, if I didn't really know exactly how everything fell apart for me. Like, you know, when I was in school, I know I was getting bullied a lot. I know that, you know, just things everywhere I went. Like, I remember having a part-time job after school when I was a teenager, and there was bullshit going on over there too. And so, it took me many years, to realize that I was a victim of domestic stalking. I was a victim of human trafficking, whatever. And like I said, you know, I started researching and realizing there was a lot of other people who were targeted individuals for even longer than I even existed. So I realized what happened to me. But at the time, you know, and I knew when I left school when I was growing up, that it really wasn't my fault. I didn't know exactly who was to blame, but I did know that my environment was something that I couldn't tolerate. I knew that every time I went to a job or a job interview or whatever, I was always dealing with illogical, irrational people. And now I understand. Okay, now I understand why. But anyway, but in the beginning, you know, I remember, I'm sure my perps talk about this, and I think this is one of the reasons why they were attacking me, is because, you know, my ex-family is associated with some form of fundamentalist Christianity. Okay, I don't think that they really strictly abide by biblical principles, or if they do, they pick and choose which biblical principles they want to live at, and then they ignore the rest, or they distort it or take it out of context, or whatever the case is. They take pride in their little cult religion, and then they try to force this sort of stuff on me. And I think, you know, when I explained to them that when I was growing up, I did study with Jehovah's Witnesses, and while I had my son, I was questioning the whole Jehovah's Witness thing for a very long time. So I started looking into more topics relating to mysticism and other forms of spirituality, which I am no longer doing, okay? But I remember going on a trip to San Francisco and buying this little statue named Ganesha. And Ganesha is like a Hindu deity, and I was recommended by the shop owner, try Ganesha, because I was basically telling them, I'm trying to change my life. I need to focus. I don't know how I'm going to focus on everything. So, you know, and I don't believe that, little statues can help you, because I don't believe that, okay? But what I did recognize it as being a focal point, something that I could focus on. And so, I remember going out and buying candles and stuff like that, trying to focus, and I realized that my focus, I didn't need all those props to focus. But at the time, it was a starting point. So I used that, and every day I'd come home and I would, light these candles and just meditate and visualize myself working and taking care of my kid or whatever. And I think, my family thought that that was like sacrilegious or something. I don't know. And I guess maybe under their guidelines or whatever, maybe it is. I don't do it anymore. But the thing is that I have every right to. You know what I mean? I have every right to. I know sometimes people disagree with other people's religious views, and they can. They don't have to agree, but by the laws of this country, I have every right to. As a matter of fact, I was thinking a couple of days ago that even the United States military recognizes a lot of religions that I think, to me, are just way over the top. Okay, like for example, the United States military recognizes Satanism. Now, I'm not a Satanist, okay? And Satanism, I would like to clarify something. Satanism does not believe in an actual Satan, okay? They believe in a different, more of like a humanistic principle of how we exist, okay? So they only call it Satanism because a lot of people, every time something bad happens, they always blame it on Satan, okay? And believe me, Satan is a bad entity, it's a bad God or whatever, but Satanism, as it's really practiced by people who claim to be Satanism, don't even believe in an actual God of Satan. They don't believe in Satan that it's actually a real God at all. They believe that they're just basically serving themselves, okay? It's a long story. You'd have to look into Satanism if that's your thing. Go and study it. But my point is that the United States even recognizes this religion as a valid religion, and they are not going to bat an eye at it or cause anybody any pain and grief over it administration-wise, okay? Now, you might have somebody who's in the military along with another person who might not like it, that might roll their eyes or whatever. But at the end of the day, they cannot lose their position because they choose to be a part of that religion. And if they do, then they can take it to court and they will probably win. Okay, so my point is that we have our freedom of religion in this country. And I also like to say, biblically, we do have the right to choose while we're here on the earth, according to what my understanding of the Bible is. When I was studying the Bible, okay, when I was growing up, I do understand there's a reason why we have this thing called Judgment Day. And I understand, this is when we actually become judged by God, okay? And this is why we are here on this earth. We're supposed to be living our lives and being judged according to how we live our lives here, okay? And the biggest part of the Bible is basically saying that humans have free will, okay? Which is we do have free will. We have the choice to either serve God, or we have the choice to choose a different path. Okay, but that has to be done based on your free will. God never forces people to love Him or obey Him. You either, even in the Bible, like when Jesus would encounter people and they would ask Him questions or whatever, and he would come up to them and talk about the gospel or whatever. And they either took it or they didn't. If they seemed like they were rejecting it, Jesus just moved on. He never sat there and caused them problems, irritated them, harassed them. It's like you see a lot of people who affiliate with certain religions, and they do become very pushy, and they become abusive. And you can tell right then and there when they become this way, that this has nothing to do with living a better moral life, having better morals, living your life according to the will of God or anything like that. This is about a selfish, perhaps a political issue or whatever, personal issue, whatever. But anyway, I'm getting off the subject. I just have so much to say. I'm just so bored not being able to express myself fully, or have a conversation that's really deep. So it's like, I feel the YouTube thing is really a great therapy for me. But so they talked about that. I will say that, by learning how to focus or direct my focus has helped me tremendously. as a human being in every aspect of my life. And they don't have to like it. They don't have to like it. They don't have to whatever. But you don't have the right to tell me how to live my life. And I think I try to focus a bit on the kind of people that I want to bring into my life. You know, what kind of people do I want in my life? And I want people who have, I know that people, I'm never going to find anybody who has the exact same principles, okay, than I do. Because I allow myself to be the unique person that I am. You know, I don't think that, I don't follow any tradition or whatever. I just accept the fact that I didn't even really grow up in a household that had any strong traditions. So I basically just had to patch things up as I went along. You know what I mean? And I want somebody who accepts that. You know what I mean? And whatever, I accept people for how they are, and I want people to accept me for how I am. I don't want people to try to change my life. This is my life. This is the kind of lifestyle that I choose to live. You know, and it bothers me that somebody would even try to do it on a subtle form, because this is what they do. They want to, like, for example, I know the girl, I'm sensing this, okay, through my psychic intuition. The girl from Murray Family Farms, who I believe married my husband, or at least had his child, okay? You know, she feels like she's in competition with me. And I guess the only reason why she feels she's in competition with me is because she had a love interest with my ex-husband and possibly the guy that I used to know from high school, or perhaps both, or whatever. I have no interest in competing against someone like her or anybody. I'm not a competitive person, but I know that, you know, when women are jealous of each other, the first thing that they do, and this should be a red flag, okay, to anybody who hears people complaining about somebody's appearance, okay? When they bring up your appearance, and this is, they do this all the time, okay? This is one of the number one things that they attack first on each other is your appearance. And obviously, that's jealousy, okay? I think it's a no-brainer that these are the things that you're supposed to strive for. And I'm not saying that you have to wear makeup, because not all women wear makeup. Not all women, you know, wear like designer clothes. I don't wear any designer clothes. I don't have any in my closet. I used to, and believe me, they were probably secondhand pieces that I got from a thrift store or something like that. I think I did back in the 90s, but I don't really go out and buy, you know, name brands. I just like to be colorful, and I pick pieces based on whatever. But women do tear into other women, and they usually do. That's the first thing that they attack. And I think the main reason why is because when you are a content person, you radiate that. And the first thing that, when you're content inside, then you project that on the outside. Now, like I said, I am not beautiful, okay? I'm not. Like I said, you know, I have skin discoloration. I believe, yeah, on my left side, I do have skin color discoloration. I have crooked teeth. You know, I feel like I would be better off if I was a little taller or whatever. You know, we all pick ourselves apart. Okay, I used to. I don't really care anymore that much. But I do care enough about my appearance because I do want to be pleasant in appearance. Okay, I don't have to be fucking goddamn gorgeous, but do I believe that having a pleasant appearance says something about an individual? I'm going to say yes, it does. Okay, and just about every book that you read on psychology or any book that talks about your self-esteem, they encourage you to take care of your appearance. Period. Okay, so when you hear people trying to attack other people for their appearance, you got to know that's jealousy. And so it really shocked me that that so many people would allow, and I know, like a lot of times in workplaces, men or women or people in general who are watching these little cat fights that women kind of get into or whatever. I've seen in the past that people encourage this sort of stuff, or they kind of enjoy it, but this sort of stuff that goes on in the workplace needs to stop. And I know a lot of women don't like talking about their jealousies among other women, but it's something I think mature people should talk about, because it's like the reality is obvious, but people want to kind of waltz around the subject. They want to waltz around it, ignore it, call it something else or whatever. But the fact is that that is what it is. Okay, and I had, there is no reason why somebody, I think she was like 20 something years younger than, there's no reason why she should be in competition with me unless, of course, there's a love interest, right? And I do know that people pitted us together. White people pit black people against each other all the time, okay? So they were probably saying, well, she's better than you, Maria, because she's half white, blah, 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 and not realizing that what they're doing is absolutely racist, okay? It is racist, okay? And that's the only reason why you would compare this particular person against me. I think she wants to follow me around and all this other stuff, and she really, really wants me to be like her. I don't really know this girl. I don't believe in being overweight. I don't. And like I said, I know in the past I've struggled with my weight. And I don't think I've never gotten over like 180 pounds. Okay, I think the one time I did get up to like 176 or something. I have never been anything over that, and I've always tried to keep myself in check. And if I feel like I was getting too big, I would get myself back in shape the best of my ability. And I've never been somebody who hits the gym or anything like that, but I do respect people who do. I think our bodies are our sacred temple, and we should do everything we could to take care of them. And I know some people will like, well, I won't argue that. I won't debate that. And I think that it should be that way, whether you're in a relationship or not. And I also wanted to say that I got irritated because what I perceive from my targeting and the behavior of other people, as well as what I get intuitively, I know that people try to think that I look at society like it does things backwards. Like, people only care about their appearance when they're trying to impress somebody or they want a relationship. I think people should be this way. This is me, okay? And I don't enforce this on other people. I don't whatever. This is my channel. I'm explaining myself because I was persecuted for my own rights, my own beliefs that I have every right to have here in the United States, okay? But I believe in my little utopia, in my imaginary world, that this is the kind of people that I want to be around. I want to be around people who want to have and strive for the best life that they could possibly have. So when I see attractive people, what I mean by attractive people, people who care about, whether their shirts are tucked in, who care about their pressed slacks or whatever, I'm gravitating towards them because they're radiating something that is, and I'm not talking about sexually, but just people in general. Like when I see beautiful women, now a lot of women don't like seeing other beautiful women. When I see beautiful women, I get excited. I'm like, oh, she's so cool. I totally want to meet her. I want to meet her. I want to meet her. You know what I mean? I want to be friends. You know what I mean? That's how I am because it's like, it's positive. To me, I see it as positive. I don't see it as negative. And if I did see it as negative, there might be some sort of jealousy there. But I'm not like that. I want to have, people who care about themselves. I want to be around people who love themselves. You know what I mean? So I think I'm kind of rambling on right now. But anyway, I'm in the mood to talk. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm just kind of talking about things that have been on my brain and things that were concerning, that were a concern to me. And the bullying that went on about the religion and all this other stuff. And I'm tired of talking about religion. I don't ever want to be around people who want to make me explain myself. I'm a 50-year-old woman, and I'm proud. I mean, my proud is like, I know that I deserve to have the kind of respect as an American citizen and just being a human being. I don't think anybody should have to justify themselves to anyone at all. You know what I mean? I don't. I don't feel, I'm angry that somebody would try to keep me in a marriage. I'm angry that somebody wants to force me into religion. I'm sorry and angry that, somebody would rather me pap on pounds. Now, I will tell you, I think a lot of people deliberately try to make other people gain weight. And I know that they do this, okay? They do it. I think sometimes it's even subconscious because they feel like a little intimidated or something. So they'll like a woman will see another woman, and this woman has already verbalized that she's trying not to eat too much food, but another woman will come in with like donuts and stuff like this and put it right in front of the woman's face. And there's nothing wrong with bringing treats into the office, okay? But when these people have like little tiny, like little temper tantrums, like, well, they'll even try to put pressure on you, like, well, I baked that cake just for you, and you didn't ask for the goddamn cake. You know what I mean? To me, it's rude when somebody knows that you're trying to strive for a goal to take care of yourself because you don't want to look at yourself. I'm sorry, I don't like looking at myself in the mirror when I'm bloated, when my face is bloated. I know what that's like, and I really don't like it. And I know deep down inside that people who are experiencing this don't like it either. You know what I mean? And I do. I have compassion for them. They don't like it. But you don't have the right to try to bring other people down to your level. Okay? And for somebody to put an operation in this, and that girl to constantly like want to hang around and stuff like that, I don't want your man. Okay? I don't. And you know, that is so weird to me. It is weird. But this is the sort of petty stuff that women do. And I would never allow myself to fight over a man. I won't do it. I won't do it. And so also I want to talk about the whole marriage thing and all this other garbage. And the one thing I hate about being older is how people bring the marriage thing up. Because they know I'm 50 years old, right? And they're like, and I know people think, well, don't you want to get married? I resent and don't like the topic of marriage. I don't want to be in a marriage. It doesn't mesh well with me. I get upset and depressed and angry, and I feel like life is over when people start talking about marriage. I don't like it. I don't want to be in a relationship with anyone on those terms. You know what I mean? I'm a very free-spirited person, and this is who I am, and I believe that this is who I'm meant to be. You know what I mean? And if I wanted a relationship, then it would be, one, like I said, that I call it the Popeye and olive oil setup. You come over, like Popeye would to Olive Oil's house, and, we would have our little, meals and picnics in the park, and then your ass is going home. Because I can't deal with that shit. You know what I mean? I just can't. So, and then to think that you would blacklist somebody because of this, that's what I find traumatizing on a daily basis. I have a very hard time dealing with knowing that somebody made me a target of a hate crime. Whether it would be, that is in my mind every single day. Every day. I mean, and it's going to be for a very, very long time. And I try to, get into the normal routine. Like I go to work every day and I come home every day, but it's those moments where I have nothing else to do that I keep thinking that somebody wanted me dead. And I will tell you why I say this, because you're basically saying you live our way or you're going to be out in the street. You can't have a job. You cannot survive. We're not going to allow you to survive unless you accept a life that you're going to hate. Because believe me, I would hate going back to my ex-husband, knowing that his family is the way that they are, knowing what he did to me and all this other that's unforgivable. And then, losing or giving up my beliefs and being forced to adapt to a belief system that I don't believe in. Okay, and it's not saying that I don't believe in God. I don't believe in their warped version of whatever they're pretending to be. I don't want to be a part of it. And, I was already divorced, and you have these people coming around and then messing up my most important thing is my job. My job is the most important part of my life. Because my job, unlike most people, okay, some people have other outlets. My only outlet is work. That's it. Okay, so work to me is always going to be my main thing that I'm focused on, because number one, I miss out a lot on life, and for some reason I feel like when I'm at work I'm making up for things I missed out on. I like going to training seminars. I like learning new skills, and I like putting them to use. And maybe that has something to do with the fact that my family fucked up my school year so much. So I don't mind taking on those extra training things. I don't mind doing it. I find it fun because I feel like I've missed out on so much in my life. You know what I mean? So, you know, and I felt angry because these people were constantly making me feel like my life wasn't mine. You know what I mean? And what good is your life if it's not yours? It's you might as well. And I'm sorry, I'm not somebody who promotes suicide, but I understand. You know, some people what they are unrealistic with this whole idea of taking your own life. Like they'll say things can get better. Your life is not going to get better when you are in a situation like that. It's going to get worse. Meaning, like you got this weird family that is forcing you, cannot accept, can't deal with the fact that you have different beliefs, and they want to ignore your needs and kind of like force you to live their way. And they don't care how you feel inside. They don't care if it's tearing you up inside. They don't care if your mind is going through some sort of spiritual desolation or whatever. I will tell you, my life was hell for a very long time, okay? And to know that these people saw me going through it and were fine with it, all they wanted me to do was just shut up and get fat, possibly stay married, knock out some kids that I'm going to end up resenting because I'm not happy, and this is the way life is, and just shut up and deal with it. This is basically what they were offering me. And I can't deal with that. You know what I mean? I couldn't deal with that. You know what I mean? And I don't think a lot of people can deal with that. So when people say things like, well, you know, it can always get better. There are some people who are so in depth with it, where their families are so controlling that they will never listen to reason. So this is the only option people have. That's how serious it is. You know what I mean? I've dealt with people who were too ignorant in my life, and that's why I'm tired of it. And I knew growing up that my family was ignorant, and I got tired of their shit. And when it was time for me to leave their house, I was glad to do it. I resent the fact that these people came out after me and wanted me to lower my standards of living and try to act like, oh, this is for our family. I'm sorry, I don't believe in those kind of family setups. And I know some people think about family businesses, family wealth building, and don't get me wrong, you got to be responsible in life, okay? You do, okay? You have to be responsible in life. You have to be able to keep a roof over your head and provide for your children or whatever. My child's grown, okay? My child is grown, and I struggled many years holding down jobs because of these stupid people, moving place to place because of these people, and you know what? I'm just done. I cannot do it anymore. I can't deal with knowing that so much of my life was taken. And then they're going to come back and then try to make these requests like, well, can't you just marry someone you don't love? Can't you just have sex and be, you know, and even though you find it disgusting, can't you just, you know, like believe in incest and all this shit that I cannot deal with? I can't deal with it. You know, and they're just, it's unbelievable. And you know, I think I'm still gonna do that video on cults as soon as I can. It's just I would like to do more structured videos, but this one is just me talking and getting out my frustration. You know, I've been doing okay lately. You know, I still deal with depression. I still get angry at times. I don't care what these people say or if they're sorry. It would be too traumatizing for me to even encounter anyone from my past. So it's, you know, I would say just leave me alone if you can understand that. If you can't understand that, I don't know what to tell you. I don't want to have any relationship with any of the people that I used to know anymore. To me, what you did speaks volumes, and you can't be trusted. It is what it is. So anyway, also, what else? I know there was a bunch of stuff I wanted to talk about when I got on here, and then as I'm talking, I'm like, oh, I'm getting tired. And I really am looking forward to this weekend, only because I want to sleep in a little bit later. You know, kind of relax my mind a little bit, because I have been like really focused on this whole thing like this week. Monday was really hard for me because I was like I was stuck in the house on Sunday. I think I stayed in the house by my own will, but as I stayed in the house, I was just like, it was just festering up. I was just getting upset, agitated, angry, dealing with, you know, the suppressed trauma and everything. So by Monday, I was just like, oh, I can't take it. And then by Tuesday, I was mellowing out. I'm like, I'm doing it right. I'm doing it right. So, you know, it's a process. It's a process. Because when you realize how many years was taken from you, and that these people were willing to take more, you know, it just becomes a real to you. It just does, you know. But yeah, I was talking about the Ganesha thing and my spiritual views. My spiritual views. I don't need props and stuff like that. I mean, I think little pictures and stuff like that are interesting because I have an interest in mysticism anyway. I do. I have a major interest in mysticism, if you want to call it the occult. And when I say the occult, not a cult like CULT, but the occult, OCC. That spelling, the OCC ULT, occult, that is like, you know, the metaphysical sciences, the unseen mystery world that exists among, you know, and that swirls around our head that most people can't see, but people who have special gifts do. That is part of my life. It's a huge part of my life. And so I know they were trying to make stipulations like, that's some scary shit when somebody's like, give up your religion, give up this, give this, and they're basically like putting a gun to your head and telling you that you can't eat, sleep, drink, exist without doing something that you fucking hate and don't believe in. You know, I want you to think about how that would make you feel, especially when you have every right to, you know. Anyway, that is something that I deal with on a daily basis, you know. And then the ridiculous thing of the perversion, and then the forced marriage, and what terrified me too is that what made it feel more like rape than anything else is the fact that, you know, as an African American woman, when you're trying to run away from somebody who's abusing you, an ex-spouse or whatever, and because they are white, people think that this person's credible and that there's no way in the world that a black woman could refuse a white man. That is very terrifying, because you are basically giving this man more power than he should have. And, you know, yes, I find a lot of white men disgusting. A lot of them are so fucking disgusting, you know. Some of them are very fucking good looking. But you know, just because you're good looking doesn't mean that I would want you. You know what I mean? So, you know, but people think in ways that are very scary. I cannot rely on the good judgment of other people. So that puts a lot of women in very vulnerable situations, and it's very easy to abuse people in that sort of in that way. And it bothered me. There is nothing that I find appealing about someone like that at all. And I felt very disturbed by it. I am still disturbed. So I deal with a lot of mental issues right now. And like I said, they have to go untreated because I cannot trust anyone. When you're a targeted individual, it is strongly advised that you do not seek out psychiatric care. And a lot of the reasons why is because, well, the main reason why you should not seek out psychiatric care is because when you are a targeted individual, their main goal is to discredit everything that you say. They already sit there and try to circulate rumors that you're crazy, something's wrong with you or whatever. If you're a little eccentric, then they'll use that against you or whatever, even though you're not crazy, okay? But if you were to go get like an actual diagnosis, like if I was to get diagnosed with something, they would probably try to use that to their advantage so that they could do something to take advantage of you. You cannot allow yourself to do that. And I know some targeted individuals bite the bullet and they do that anyway. I won't do that. Okay, and especially now, okay, I did it only because I felt like at one point I'm going to need some sort of income. They were not letting me have a job. I mean, they wouldn't let me have any job. Now, get this. I know that they were sitting here basically trying to coach me, that I didn't ask them to coach me. They thought they had a right to choose my job. They thought they had the right to do these things and make career decisions for me. And, you know, that's the part that really pissed me off. Like, how dare you tell me how to make a living? That's mine. You don't have shit to say about it, okay? But this is what they were trying to do. And they were trying to do all of these things. And so when you're dealing with gang stalking, you know, they want to they do things that are just, to me, shocking. Like, how dare a person actually think that they have the right? I don't care if it's my mother. You know what I mean? You don't have the right to do those sort of things. And so when you're dealing with, being a targeted individual, and you're calling and you need a job, I was looking for a job. They weren't even letting me they wouldn't even let me work like at a fast food place. So that's when I really understood that these people, I take it, and I will always take it, and I still deal with uh, knowing that somebody tried to kill me. I don't care what they say. This girl at my old employer's place, at Selena Bruce, as far as I'm concerned, she should be in jail. And the reason why is because she was a part of this orchestration of targeting me. She had no right to put something like this in place. I would never rely on her judgment to direct my career in any way, shape, or form. And another thing is that I don't ever recall telling her that I didn't have a bachelor's degree. You know what I mean? People like me don't talk much about our past. And the reason why is we don't want to be judged. We just want to work. Okay? And so we try to negotiate these things with our employer. We don't try to, because I know there's a lot of people who've gone to like really good colleges. So that's a part of their image. This is a part of who they are. They, not only do they go to like these nice, great colleges, they have all these material things. It's a part of their, what do you call, their persona, whatever. I'm not one of those. I'm just somebody who's a worker. I'm a worker, okay? Meaning I do work in an office type environment, but I am not one of those people who are like a high roller type person. So I'm kind of humble in that way. So she must have garnered that information from someone, I don't know how, because I don't really talk about my past. Nobody really knows me. But I think I did tell my husband, my ex-husband, and he must have told her, or she could have understood through surveillance or whatever the case is. And I know that she had a thing going with my husband, my ex-husband. She had no right to do what she did, and it was a hate crime, okay? And then I had my crazy family who thought that it was still okay. Like, I don't know, my siblings, okay, they're probably willing to put up with all kinds of abuse, because if they would think for 1 minute that I would want a man who would do that sort of thing to me, or that's okay. And another thing I also want to say, it's really the most important thing that's on my mind right now. I'm so tired, excuse me. Is that I understand that life is hard. I understand life is a gamble. I think most people know that when you get up to a certain age and you move out of your parents' house, you know that you are on your own. And I knew that I was on my own, okay? Life can be hard sometimes. Sometimes you work. For normal people, they work and they sometimes lose jobs and they go back to work. My situation is a little different, where people were manipulating my employment. I was blacklisted and I was doing all this other stuff, but whatever. But my point is that, when I left my house, I was prepared to raise my son on my own, take care of my needs, whatever, and I never asked anybody for that sort of help. You know what I mean? And so they think, well, they can't imagine, like my siblings can't imagine why in the world would I would rather be single than married. Married life has nothing to offer me. And I know people are like, well, what about financial security? Hey, I will live in a tiny house. If I had to, I would live in, I want my fucking peace of mind. And you know what I want more than anything else? I like the solitude that I have as a spiritual person. That's worth more to me than anything in this world. Those little voices that come in, my intuition, and all these things that I can do that I can't enjoy with another person. You know what I mean? And I choose to live a spiritual life. And I don't want people defining what a spiritual life is for me. I personally, I take great pleasure in my unique life. This is who I am. You know what I mean? And for somebody to want me to change or think that I would be enticed to change, like, you can't convince me to change my life. You can't. And I know they were trying to force it on me, and I resent that. I don't care about any of you guys. Okay, I'm just going to say this right now. I don't care about any of you. Okay, and the reason why is because years and years and years, I can't tell you how sad I was growing up, failing and wondering what the fuck happened. Like when I remember leaving high school, I was upset because
I knew something wasn't right. Like, why does this shit keep happening to me? Why does this keep happening to me over and over and over again? Why is there always commotion around? Why is there always something? And I feel like I missed out on so much in life, okay? And knowing that these people are so greedy, they cannot stop taking shit. You know what I mean? I don't care about any of these people. I can't. There's something inside me that's just like, it's enough is enough, and I want to move on, and I want to forget. And it's hard because I really do want to meet other people, and I know most people are crap. I mean, this was a great demonstration of human behavior and how people deal with gossip and how they foolishly don't question authority. I did a video on that recently. I can't trust most people. I really can't. Okay, but you know, I all I can hope for is to have like a really close girlfriend, somebody that like and when I mean girlfriend, I'm not mean a sexual relationship. I want I want a buddy. You know what I mean? I want a buddy that I can talk to. You know, I want a buddy that, you know, if I want to get up early in the morning or even in the middle of the night, you know, do my little weird creepy stuff like, you know, my little weird creepy stuff, you know, and like just meditate or whatever. I want a buddy. You know what I mean? Go out shopping, get my nails done with my buddy. I wish I had something like that. And to me, that would be so much more gratifying than being with a husband. I don't want to be with a man. I don't, and no, I'm not a lesbian, okay? Because I couldn't go that direction. Like I couldn't do that whole, you know what I'm talking about. I can't. I'm sorry, but you know, I think I do like being around women. I do. I like talking about women's issues. I like being a woman. I love clothes. I love the fact that we, you know, have great intuition. I love a woman's world. That's I like being around women. Okay, and I would choose to have women friends. And I want to be around women who are very, you know, cultivated and, you know, intelligent is what I'm looking for, and that's what I want for a close friend. But you know, when you're dealing with gang stalking, they become the environment becomes polluted with the bullshit, and I don't want people who want to change me. I hate that. Like I will fucking end up hating people who try to change me. I can't fucking stand it. I hate it because I have such a strong spiritual vibration in the existence that I'm in now. I love it. I love my life. I do. I mean, and you might think, well, just because you're back working, yes, I love my job. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I love my job. Okay, but I love my philosophy in life. I love my views that I have every right to have, and this is what makes me happy. This is my life. And then what they were trying to do was to destroy my life, you know, and they did. They did a lot of damage to my life. They did, and I know that that girl at my workplace, and I believe she knew what she was doing. This is not an accident. She convinced a lot of people to follow her. I'm going to tell you right now, we're not friends. Okay, anybody who would do something like that is not my friend. I will never, and I would never respect her. You know what I mean? And you know, I don't, especially if she's happy with my ex-husband or the guy that I used to know from high school. Why bother me? I'm not gonna sit here and put up a fight or argue for the guy, or I'm not doing any of that shit. I don't really care. All I care about right now is I want to heal. I want to like feel better about life in general. Like, you know, I do. I wish these negative thoughts would cease from my mind and not come back. But I deal with a lot of trauma. I do. Because, like I said, when you get gang stalked and when people are basically trying to force their lifestyle, and I know my mother played a big role. My mother is the biggest, the most ignorant woman. I mean, I'm sorry to say this, okay? You know, but she is. She's very ignorant. She has no understanding of human feelings, or she's not able to empathize with people. She's very black and white. And what I mean by that, not racially, but it's like she doesn't understand that there's other issues that you need to take in consideration before you enact certain things. she's not a good judge of character. She basically lived with her parents until she married my dad. When she married my dad, and my dad made money, so he took care of my mother. And my mother has zero concept of the world. She does not know anything about the world. She has no idea how hard it is to live inside the world and make money and take care of yourself. Okay, because she had my dad to take care of those things. And good for her. So in her mind, she's thinking, well, why don't you just do the same thing? It's not that simple. The thing is, I've been on my own since I was in my 30s, okay? Actually, that's not true. Since I was in my 20s, okay? Because I had my son when I was 22 years old, and I was raising him on my own. I moved into a little apartment, and I started working, and I took care of my son all my life. You know what I mean? But she has no idea the things that we have to face out there in the world. You know, she's completely oblivious to it. And she thinks that, marriage is just great because, she got to stay home and watch TV and soap operas all day and whatever. And she thinks that way of life is still common for most women. She has not woken up. It's not that way anymore. You know what I mean? And a lot of men resent that sort of stuff. They don't want to take care of women. And you know what? I wouldn't want anyone taking care of me because when people feel burdened, they will abuse you. They will abuse you if they feel as though you're a burden to them. A lot of men beat their wives because they feel like their wives are burdens. And I know that sounds really terrible to say, but it's true. A lot of people, sad to say, this is even worse. A lot of people feel their kids are burdens, and they beat their kids because they're a burden. You know what I mean? I don't want to be a burden to anybody, okay? I just want to take care of my own self. And like I said, I'm 50 years old. I could die in 10 years. I can die in 5 years. And I'm a realist about this sort of thing. And when you believe in the afterlife, you don't really fear it, okay? But I will fear it if people are going to take me out on against my own will, okay? I don't appreciate that, and I would rather, live my life without marriage, because marriage doesn't make me happy, and I would never be, open to being Mrs. anyone other than myself. When I took my ex-husband's last name, I still didn't feel like 100% about it. But I remember thinking, okay, well, is this going to help me get a job or something? I mean, I thought, okay, I'll go ahead and adopt it. I never felt right as being my last name. I don't feel right about it. And like I said, I'm not trying to start a revolution. I'm just saying is, look, I was abused. I always had to take care of myself. I have to watch out for myself. I can't allow myself to live under the same roof with a man who it would be easy for a man to abuse me because I don't have a support system. Where am I going to go if he decides to beat the shit out of me? Where am I going to go? Okay, and I think, it's really cool that my son let me live with him because when they decided to make me lose my job over there at that butt fucking place in Buttonwillow, whatever that fuck place was, that dive basically. I was working out there, and they were trying to force me back to my ex-husband, the same one who fucks his mom, the same one who was cheating with that chick at my workplace, the same one who threw me into the genocide program, the same one, whatever. Okay, same person. They were going to throw me back into the same person who was trying to kill me. Okay, so I'm like, okay, I have nowhere to go. So my son took care of me. Okay, and this is where I am right now. Okay, and you know what? I don't want my son to feel like he has to take care of his mother. He's a grown man and he might want to get married one day. Okay? So, if I was to get married to somebody, and I don't ever want to be a burden to anybody, if I was to get married to somebody one day and he starts beating on me, I would not want to be like, oh, can my son take me in? Can I live with you, son? And he's got his own wife and children. I don't want to be a burden to anybody. I don't. And they don't think about these things. My stupid mother's just like, well, I got married, my mom got married, and my mom's mom got married, and marriage, blah, blah, blah. They just, the traditionalists, please shut the fuck up. You don't know what it's like having to take care of yourself in the modern world. Okay? And I try to make the best of it. I like working. I do. Okay? I do. I really appreciate it. And, I know people, talk shit about, my perps, my ex-perps talk shit about me and my fucking You know, she likes her clothes. Yes, I love my clothes, okay? And I wake up on Thursday. Thursday is my favorite day. Because really, Thursday, according to, like, and yes, I do believe in astrology, Thursday is the day that's ruled by Jupiter. And that's a day where it's like, this is a business day, you know? And I feel happy on Thursdays. I'm more energetic on Thursdays and Mondays and Thursdays generally. Those are my favorite days. But anyway, yeah, I do. And I feel like this gravitational pull, and I feel like wearing those colors that are going to match that Jupiter energy. And if it sounds weird to you, well, you can roll your eyes and you don't have to talk to me, but this is who I am. And this is what I love to do. And this is what makes me happy. And maybe no one else like practices things like that, or maybe people think it's kind of goofy, but you know what? Hey, this is what I enjoy doing. You know, and I don't really care if I'm accepted by people that I find disgusting anyway. So what is it? I really needed to talk. I really need to say something else. Say something today. I really, you know, but I want new conversation. I want new things to come into my life. And I think my biggest issue is I'm always fearful that I'm going to run into the wrong people. I don't want to meet representatives of the same people who abuse me over and over again. And that's one of the biggest things about gang stalking is that, you know, people don't have any morals. They don't know what's right and wrong. I'm disturbed that, you know, incest is more common than we think it is. I can't tell you how that just really messes my brain up. I don't believe in it. And I don't believe in child molesters. I mean, obviously I believe they exist. But I don't agree. I don't approve of it. And, you know, I have just become so disappointed with the world in general. And I just want to find a good person, you know, a decent person, you know, and I'm hoping that there's a diamond in the rough one day because I want to make the best decisions about who I choose to give my friendship to. Because I will tell you, my friendship is golden. You know what I mean? If I care about somebody, you know, I care about that person. And I think with someone as genuine as myself, I deserve the very best, you know, and I don't want to waste my life on people who aren't worth it. So anyway, I think I said enough. I've been talking a very long time. I guess I want to keep, you know, encouraging targeted individuals to keep their fight. I would like to say that there's a lot of targeted individuals who are homeless now because of being blacklisted, because they've never were able to figure out exactly who was their perpetrator. And I'm saying to you, you know, please keep your head up. Please keep trying. Don't give up. I know it can get really bad for a lot of people, and but put your stories out there. I think when I remember, you know, some people, when I first became a targeted individual, I would talk to some of the people who were experiencing the same thing. I was in some of these groups, and I was basically telling them my approach. They didn't believe in my approach. They were confused, not really knowing, you know, how to target the issue. But the thing is, it's like you need to know your rights. That's the bottom line. You need to know your rights, and you need to be like, you know, you need to be very strong and be able to stand up to this, you know. And I this is what I've been doing, you know, talking about the legal issues involved and recognizing it for what it is, you know. And like I said, these sort of setups are meant to literally destroy a person, you know. And like the employment laws that I referenced in one of my videos talking about, in some states when they talk about blacklisting, in some states they basically say whether you would be responsible for this person, whether it was intentional or unintentional. Like there's a lot of people who got involved in my targeting and it was kind of unintentional to them. They were just listening to the word of mouth, the rumors and stuff like that, and they, you know, spread it and participated in it, not really knowing that it was wrong, but it is wrong. And they, you know, it was deliberate on that Selena girl's part. Like she totally wanted me dead. She totally did. And if not physically dead, then she wanted me to be changed to the point of where she felt she didn't have to be threatened by me. And my family supported that. You know what I mean? And I'm still trying to figure out why would they be okay with this girl doing it because it was a hate crime. Yes, hatred exists in families, and my family hated me. You know what I mean? And it's hard for a lot of people to understand, but yeah, they totally hated me. And they might be changing their tune now, and at this point, I don't really care. You know what I mean? It's in my best interest, my best for my mental health, my mental well-being, to move on. So anyway, I think I said enough. I'm gonna listen to my video and see how it sounds. Decide whether I'm gonna post or not. Because sometimes I get off this subject because I get so tired. Sometimes I'll be talking and I'm like, oh, I forgot what I was gonna say or whatever. That's one of the reasons why I do like writing out scripts and stuff like that. Back to my videos. Still haven't gotten around to finishing my video on ESP, and I feel really bad. Like, you know, but like I said, you know, I deal with depression, and I think a lot of my depression is because when you deal with something like this kind of injustice, you never have closure. You never have closure. You know, and my life seems fairly normal. Like I go to work and I come home, but in a lot of ways, I wish I could. I wish I could see these people like be punished. You know, what I mean? Like the girl from my ex job, my old job, the Selena girl. I would like to see her be hauled off to jail. I want her in jail. I would like to see her, if not, you know, I wish they carried out executions in this country. I think she deserves that. Just because she knew better, she should have known better, and she knew exactly what she was doing. And because you never see these people be brought to justice, you always feel this sense of, like, nervousness. Like, I understand when people, I got in a conversation just recently with somebody about watching people deal with the death penalty, like watching somebody die. Now, that sounds really morbid. I would never want to do that for any form of entertainment, believe me. But I understand their need for closure. If somebody hurt my loved one, I want to make sure that this goddamn person is destroyed and not coming back for him. So if I was able to attend their execution, it would make me feel, not like I feel like I would be relieved, like, because you can never bring that person back, but I would at least know that justice has been served and you're not coming back. You know what I mean? And that's how I feel. You know what I mean? Being stalked is a very destructive thing. And when I think about people who would allow other people to participate in something that they know mentally disturbs me, you wonder, how can you be my friend? You know what I mean? It's very unsettling to me. So anyway, I am going to wrap up this video. I hope all TIs continue fighting for their rights. And I will be back with another video sometime later. Have a good evening.